Codepen is super popular in the development world. What it has is a ton of designers and developers, coders posting their work so everyone can use it and share it. The nice thing about Code is it's open source, so feel free to browse and find some cool things to utilize. It's there for your disposal. So what I want to go over is how do we use CodePen? A lot of code, where do I put it? How do I use it? That's what I'm here to show you. So I gave a collection of things that I've collected for the class. You don't have to use just these. You can use other code pens, whatever you find. But I have a ton of accordions and tabs that you can use, different hamburgers, video, so on and so forth. So I'm going to do, for this example, why don't we try this one? So a hamburger menu on tablet and mobile that I have. So this one is specifically for that on desktop you would have your same desktop, the horizontal, vertical, whatever you would choose. But then when you hit tablet, if you can see we scroll down, then the hamburger comes up that we could use. Now I want to be able to change these colors, change my fonts, do all that kind of fun stuff. So you can kind of test it out, see if you like how it looks when you click on it. So this is the view area, and then up at the top there's going to be 3 columns, and this is what you want to understand. So we have the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. What you want to do is you want to copy the HTML and put it in your HTML, the CSS and put it in your CSS, or I highly recommend making a new CSS document, placing in your CodePen, and then linking it at the top, and then if there's any JavaScript. So let's go over each one and how it works and how to add it. So I'm going to add, first of all, the HTML, which we probably all feel the most comfortable with. So I'm going to copy it, come over to brackets to my site, and I'm going to paste it in. So HTML always goes in the body of your page. Now I did have a script in this that all scripts should either go right before the close or up in the head. So right before the close of the body is one place where JavaScript can go. The other place is in the head of your HTML. Those are the 2 locations. You don't want to just fly it around in the middle. All right, I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to the CSS. And I'm going to select all of that and copy it again. And I'm going to make a new CSS for myself here. So in the right side here, I'm going to make a new file, and I'm going to call it hamburger.css. And I'll paste in all that CSS, because look at how much there is. You just don't want it to get confused with your own CSS. And I'm going to hit save. Now just because it's in my root folder, remember you're still going to have to link that new style sheet. So I'm going to link that up here. So I have to link my style sheet, and it's just kind of hanging out here in my root folder. Notice how these other 2 style sheets are in the CSS folder. That's why it has CSS in front of it. Either one is fine. You just have to make sure it's properly linked so the file can be found. Another note when you're working with CodePen and you're adding additional CSS is you always want your style sheet to be the last style sheet in the list. Yours will trump everything else. You want that to dominate any other code that you have. All right, I'm going to hit save again. And then finally I'm going to come back and grab this little bit of JavaScript. Now, when you're bringing over JavaScript, I'm going to put it down here with the other JavaScript. You have to add a script tag. And a script tag looks like that. So it has an open script and a closed script. And I can place my my JavaScript in the middle. And you can kind of even read this. So when we click on it, this is what actually opens it. So I added my HTML, added my CSS, and now I added my JavaScript. Now I can test this out. So I shouldn't have a navigation on desktop, but on tablet, there it is. I was impatient. And then on mobile. Now the last thing you want to check for is you want to check for any other pages that need to be added. So there's one hidden spot that's in Codepen that you might want to take a look at. So let's just go back here real quick and show that. So underneath the JavaScript, sometimes you'll find, if I hit that little sprocket, that there'll be some other links that need to be linked. And those would be linked here. Now this one doesn't have it, so that's okay. And sometimes under the CSS, the same thing. So you might need to add these additional sources if specified. So take the extra second to check under the sprocket of the CSS and JavaScript and see if there's anything else that needs to be linked for this code to work.